The photons emitted under global illumination have done a great thing for us. They've really spread the light and color around the interior. Compare this with the original direct illumination. However, the photons are still visible, splattered on every surface. We clearly need to do something to smooth the photons out. And that's where final gather comes in. Before I go there, I'd like to mention caustics. Think of caustics as global illumination for specular reflection. Caustics are relatively rare, and you'll see them in areas where you have really shiny or transparent objects. For example, in a wine glass on a dinner table. You'll see caustics as bright spots on the tablecloth. You might also see caustics as light reflecting off of a swimming pool onto a wall. The wall will have some bright spots on it, and these are caustic areas. Enable this mode if you need to simulate caustics. In this particular project, however, I really don't have any caustic areas, so I'm going to disable this feature. Open up the Final Gather rollout and enable this feature. Now I'd like to discuss what this does before I actually do the rendering. Final Gather takes a look at the photon map, and it samples areas of color where the photons overlap. This is a new feature up here called Preset, and you can choose from these preset categories here to enter information into this rollout. I'll stick with Draft for this render. Now as we final gather, you'll see that the photons are emitted, and then it's computing the final gather points. These appear as little points of color on the screen. Those are then smoothed out to create a rendering which is free of the photon artifacts. Let's try that again. This time I'll use the low preset. It's going to create points that are slightly smaller, and the buckets will be smaller too. So it will take longer to render. But the quality will be just slightly higher. In my mind, this looks a lot like a pointillism type of painting, which is a kind of impressionist painting in the 19th century, where they took a very fine brush and put little points of pigment on the canvas. It kind of looks like that here. Remember, it's sampling the photon map that was calculated under GI. And it's creating this pointillist map, which is called the Final Gather map. And then that is smoothed. So we've just about finished the pointillist map, and now we're going ahead and smoothing that out. And the result looks a little bit better.